Good evening, Cobb County Democrats, and thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you this evening. A special thanks to Chair Jacqueline Bedapur and the Cobb County Democrats for the incredible work you do to uplift our state. Over the last few weeks, I have been traveling across the state, speaking with Georgians about issues impacting their lives, healthcare, education, the economy, voting rights, and so much more. The conversations that I've had with Georgians in places like Cuthbert, Albany, Warner Robins, and Midway make one thing all too clear. Too many Georgians have been left out and left behind by our current governor. When I began the One Georgia tour in Cuthbert, I stood in front of a hospital that had to shut its doors in the middle of the pandemic. I stood with a woman whose aunt died because the ambulance that could have saved her life didn't reach her in time to get her to the hospital in Alabama. You see, Cuthbert's hospital didn't close because our state couldn't afford to keep it open. Northridge Medical Center in Commerce didn't close because our state couldn't afford to keep it open. These hospitals and so many more have closed because Brian Kemp refuses to expand Medicaid. But it's not about math, because the money is ours. It's money Georgians have already paid in. And it's not partisanship, because Republicans like Mike Pence, when he was governor of Indiana, John Kasich as governor of Ohio, Jan Brewer, governor of Arizona, expanded Medicaid. It's not because he doesn't understand what's at stake. Healthcare for over 500,000 Georgians and 64,000 jobs. When people are worried about tomorrow, he's only worried about himself. You see, he's refused to expand Medicaid because Brian Kemp doesn't care. His meanness, his callousness has cost us lives, hospitals, and jobs. He's more concerned about scoring political points than protecting the lives of Georgians. At a time when Georgians are worried about public safety, Brian Kemp signed criminal carry legislation that will allow anyone to carry concealed handguns without a permit. This takes Georgia's loophole on background checks and makes it a welcome sign for criminals to open season on Georgians. Brian Kemp knows that nearly 70% of Georgians oppose this bill. He knows that over 5,200 permits were denied in 2020 because of felony convictions, domestic abuse, and more. He knows that gun advocates and law enforcement don't like this bill. He knows the proven danger and the legitimate fear surrounding this legislation should be listened to. But the problem for Georgians is that Brian Kemp just doesn't care. Our educators have taught through COVID and 20 years of austerity cuts. But this governor has decided to score political points by making our children martyrs and our educators scapegoats. When he passed legislation in the dark of night to demonize trans children and create a committee to discriminate against kids just trying to belong, you know he doesn't care about our youngest Georgians. When the governor finally makes good on his promise of pay raises 3 years late and paid for with money brought by Senator Raphael Warnock, Senator John Ossoff, and President Joe Biden, you know Brian Kemp doesn't care about actually funding education. When educators find out that their pay raises may be mirages because he failed to fully fund his promise, you know that Brian Kemp just doesn't care about our schools or his promises. When Kemp's priorities are banning books and lying to our children about our history, hiding the stains of slavery and the Trail of Tears by authorizing schools to erase our past, you know he doesn't care about our children's future. Georgia deserves a governor that understands the pain and the promise of communities across the state. One that's willing to work on behalf of everyone, not just the Georgians that he likes. I'm running for governor because I believe in Georgia. I believe in opportunity, I believe in success, and I believe here in Georgia, your future should not be determined by your zip code, your background, or your access to power. You see, I've had the recent privilege to take care of my loved ones, and I want every Georgian to have the same capacity. No one is guaranteed success, but we all have the right to access and to work for more. By expanding Medicaid, improving economic and social mobility, strengthening our schools, protecting voting rights, we can create a stronger Georgia, one that works for all. As the former Democratic leader of Georgia State House, a Yale-trained tax attorney, an author, and a small business owner, I will be ready on day one, ready to succeed where Brian Kemp has failed and bring our state together where he has failed to care. For years, Cobb County has done the hard work to flip our state. I watched in 2016 when you defied the odds. In 2018, when many believed that turning Georgia blue was not possible, we ran an historic campaign that proved that Georgia was a viable battleground state, and Cobb County was proof of concept. In 2020, we turned the tables and turned Georgia blue for President Biden. And in 2021, in the runoffs, we sent Senators Warnock and Ossoff to Washington. And our extraordinary leaders have worked tirelessly to deliver on behalf of all Georgians during their time in office. You are part of that history. We could not have flipped the state without the calls you've made, the doors you've knocked, the money you've raised, and so much more. Your advocacy and your votes have helped elect Democrats up and down the ballot in Georgia. And guess what? We're going to do it again in 2022. We have the opportunity to show the nation that we are a bellwether and a lodestar and the proof of what investment and engagement can deliver. We can win in 2022 and build a stronger Georgia that works on behalf of all of us. Together, we will continue to lift Georgia up and move Cobb County forward. We will win the governorship. We will re-elect Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, and we will elect Democrats up and down the ballot once again. Because this is our year, Cobb County. This is our time. This is our state. So let's get it done.